Fempreneur True Confessions podcast. I'm Angelique with Lady Powerhouse Solutions, and we are a project and event management resource. I'll just put it that way. But we help women entrepreneurs for the most part. It's not like we don't like you guys. It's just we align with women.
Right.
Um, and Lora is the co-host of Fempreneur True Confessions with me.
Yes.
Laura, introduce
Hi,
yourself.
everyone. I am Lora Oda, and I am the owner of a virtual assistant agency and strategist, kind of smaller boutique style than most of the agencies. And I'm really just, again, I'm here to support women. I love the women small businesses. I'm super excited to see where we're going since we're starting to rule the world. So, we're where we belong. And again, like Angelique said, we do love our gentlemen and we love our male supporters, but women really, we feel like women have needed this support for a long time. So coming in and doing this is super exciting. I'm so loving what has been, it's been blooming and blossoming this last few months.
Yes,
So
yes. And so we are what comprises Fempreneur True Confessions podcast. We collaborated together to start this podcast earlier this year, and we've been doing this for a couple of months now, and it has been so freaking much fun. But the real purpose behind the podcast is to empower women in business and in life to live authentically and support each other,
yes.
and to foster this abundance mindset and to normalize what it looks like when women succeed at supporting each other. And that has really been happening, and I'm just loving it.
Yes.
Um, but that's what the podcast is all about. And so today's going to be a little different, y'all. We had a last minute cancellation or a reschedule. Michelle Long is going to be with us, unfortunately, at a later date. She had family stuff come up. And you know what? Isn't that what's beautiful about being your own boss?
Mm-hmm.
Is
Yes.
when family things come up, you can say, you know what? Family takes priority. And Michelle, thank you for modeling that for us and making family your priority. So we're kind of flying by the seat of our pants, but really looking forward to rescheduling with Michelle and sharing that with you guys at a later date.
Right.
Yep.
Definitely. I'll be excited. So.
Yeah. I know we were really excited about having her with us.
Hmm.
Um, I shared last week, like I totally have been girl crushing on her for like a year now. So um definitely gonna be doing that. But so today we just kind of thought, we just went through the last couple of months of podcasts,
Hmm.
going through and finding nuggets and mostly bloopers. We were kind of I'm a jokester. And so I thought it would be fun to put a blooper reel together because there's been plenty of for both of us. And so we just finished going through 11 episodes.
Hmm.
And I'm just amazed that there are that many.
Yeah.
That's almost 3 months now. It's almost been 3 months now.
Yeah.
And just pulling the nuggets and the bloopers out of those. We are going to share some of those nuggets with you today.
Yes.
And Laura did the first several episodes. So, Laura, you want to go ahead and jump in?
Definitely. So, it was very interesting going back because not only when you go back, you hear things that you miss along the way. Like if we were all like
Yes.
all of a sudden all talking, or somebody said something that was a little bit lower than I would hear in the show and stuff like that, and I was like, did I hear that? I didn't hear that during the show. And so it's little things that came up. Lots of technical errors, which is hilarious because they were guaranteed for one or two. The apparent nobody knows how to speak English fully all of the time.
It's
Or
such a hard
people
language.
right? Or one day, like, do you even know how to read? I was like, oh my gosh, do I mess up that much reading? So Now to counteract that, we do try to like face our cameras and not be like this the whole time we're reading so robotic. But I read from another screen, which is probably silly. I could probably bring it over. Um, but it's really funny when you start to see all those little nuances, how they've changed along the way and how we're always trying to, move around. So I saw a lot of that and it was a lot of fun. And then listening to everything in double time. Oh my gosh, that
Yeah,
was
yeah. So to
hilarious.
speed through the process, because each episode's like 30 to 45 minutes, and we've done
Mhm,
11 of them. So even if we split it up and did 5 or 6 each, that's
mhm,
like, 3 or 4 hours worth of listening. And you really have to pay attention to catch what you want
mhm.
to the nuggets in, the faux pas that you want to pull out. So what kind
Right.
of nuggets came up for you while you were doing that?
So there was a part in episode 2 where why you should be focused on what is this? Hold on. Sorry.
Yeah, and let's make sure we mention the guests for those two.
Right.
So
This one was
episode 2,
Lisa Hammond. No, Jennifer Jane
no,
Hammond.
Jennifer Jane Young. Yeah.
Yeah. And why you should be focused on that thing that has you challenged. And she was talking about that and really focusing in on kind of acknowledging what that challenge is and focusing on it. What did you learn? Like, and getting real about that stuff was really interesting in listening to it again and absorbing it more. That was really good, and I was glad to be able to kind of re-listen to that and hear it.
Yeah.
I even kind of slowed it back down so that it didn't, so I could really bring that into home kind of feel. That was really interesting and fun to listen to again. The her intuitive channel explanation that she was discussing, and all of those kinds of things, like how you're tuning in and what
Mm-hmm.
you're doing. So, hers was a lot of fun. I really, and it was kind of the first time we started touching base on our more woo side of us,
Yeah.
and and not sure how everybody would react because we're not very specific, but I think most people that know us know kind of how we are. But yeah,
Yeah.
it was interesting to see that change. Um, eh, Obviously the bloopers with the technical difficulties. We had some stuff with the cats joining in. But poor Lisa, or not Lisa. Oh God.
Jess. No, it wasn't
No,
Jess. It was I know who
Jennifer,
you're talking about.
Melissa,
Yeah.
Whitefish Sinclair. Okay. And her cats, oh my gosh. So,
No, no.
yes, they started screaming at us. Like they were really yelling at us. And I
Yeah,
didn't
like we want to
realize.
be in the video. And you
And
know,
which,
that's not, it is not, you know what, and I think I mentioned this in one of the podcasts too, but there's like, anytime there's a cat
mhm,
involved, Jackie has 4. And it was a miracle that, because almost every single time Jackie and I are on a
mhm,
call, something's going to happen with one of the kids. They're
mhm.
going to get into something's going to fall, whatever. Or one of them's in her face, or one of them's on her chair, or something.
Yeah.
And and it just seems like the cats they got to have their butt on the screen.
Yeah. Mine's always usually right here beside me. So you'll see me do this during some of them. Because she's gotta
And you've
have
got
her
a
face in
dog
it. But
too.
at least it's not cat butt all the time. It is dog face, which
You know
sometimes
what I
can be, you
I
know.
found a friend of mine in St. Louis was making Christmas cookies, and his Christmas cookie cutter is a cat
Mhm.
butt.
Oh, how's that
So
even come
funny.
out? Oh my god, that is hilarious. Because that would be interesting to see. Like, okay, how do
Yeah.
you do that?
I'll share it with you later, but
That
yeah,
was,
it's funny.
I love it. So
Very clearly a cat butt.
that is perfect. It just kind of goes with we are animal lovers. There's the things we learn to love about animals, and the same things you learn to
Yeah.
love about your kids, you learn to love about your animals. So they're not always the cleanest things, snotty noses and dirty hands and sticky fingers, things like that. It's the same thing. Animal
Yep.
licks and cat butts, and
They're fur babies.
so but it was really, and discussing on Melissa, and really with hers. I was super excited when she came on because we know she's been on such a journey. And I think what she is doing is such a necessity in the community for everybody and us as women to come together as a whole, remembering, as a whole, whether no matter the race, age, um, preferred gender, if you identify as a woman or a woman, and just being in that,
Yeah.
bringing that also to the forefront was very interesting for me, and listening to that again, and I'm sure for you as well.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
just really hearing that was powerful, and impactful, and the reminder that it was a reminder to me that how come, because for me it felt like common sense, and for others I had to learn that there's a point where it isn't necessarily about common sense, but where it's about, you have to be willing to stand up and learn, and more of that, like, we don't know, and once we hear it, we have to acknowledge it enough to where we learn about it. And so that was really powerful to me, in being able to bring that out to the forefront, and what she does in her journey, to where she is today, because she's such an amazing woman. She was one of the first people I spoke to and met when part of the VE
Oh,
group. So, yeah, I was like, if you got to meet people for the first time and be nervous, she's a great person to have to be nervous with.
yes.
So,
Awesome.
um, but I was real excited about that. Lisa Hammond, she started us off, and
Yes.
her story and her journey, and bringing us in the way she did and kicking us off, was probably the most perfect guest to have for that first
Yeah, absolutely. And
time.
she since then has released her book on burnout. She's the book's from Burnout to Best Life, and it's awesome. I bought my own copy. And if you guys are interested in purchasing that, the link's in the show notes.
Absolutely. I'm gonna go in and get it, because I was like, oh yes, wait, is that coming out? Same with Lisa, or Jennifer Jane Young. Did she her book was coming out as well, but I think it was delayed, wasn't it?
I don't remember.
Or is the
I'd
new
have to look at.
podcast?
She does have a podcast, yes.
Right. Okay. So
And
it
she
was
had a
before.
podcast and then she
Mhm.
changed format and like went in a different direction. But yeah, she
Okay.
does have a podcast
Yeah.
as well. Yeah.
So she had a book coming out as well that we knew it would probably be around December. So definitely
I have
look
to
for that
follow
as
up on
well.
that.
Yeah. Um and then Rachel, I was listening to the stuff that Rachel said. That was a really powerful
But
meeting.
wait. You skipped Jess.
I did skip Jess. Okay, I'm not going in order, people. I'm sorry. My brain, it doesn't always work in order. But
Oh, that's okay.
um
I got you, girl. I got you, boo.
I was like, oh shit, who's next? Who's next?
If anybody
Um,
knows anything about working with me, it is I will keep the ducks in a row.
right. She remembers the order. Me, I'm like, hey, we'll fly by the seat of our pants. Let's see how this goes.
I need that
Um,
structure. I thrive on that structure.
mhm. And that's perfect, because it was, with Jess, we learned, with going Rome, and her business, and in RVing, and being out there, and being free, and new ways of living and experiencing, and again, just showing how we can move along, how we can make things work for us, how innovative we are as women, to just say, hey, this is how our life is going to be, and this is what we want, and this is our freedom and our choice. And she really just kind of epitomizes that. She brought that into what everybody else, we're all traveling. Everybody's living somewhere else or doing something, and we're all over the United States, Mexico too, Canada as well, and just being everywhere and really bringing that to the forefront of no matter what it is, we're all successful women in business. We don't have to be in one place, and knowing, and just knowing she was raised all them kids and she's left them all. Like, she's like, I'm on my own world. Me and my husband are doing it. We're going kind of peaced out, and is enjoying life to the absolute fullest. Like, that was really neat because I enjoy being able to hear that and know. And not that I'm not living my best life. I feel like I am. And for all of us, it's different. Um, but just knowing that, and hearing how everybody's world and what their best life looks like to them is just, yeah, it's so much fun. I was getting so I'm always enjoying getting to know people that way. Um the reminder for her, because she is our nerd, and she hey, it's not an insult. She really loves it. Like,
No.
her tagline is talk nerdy to me. So even when I said it, um that is her thing. Like, talk nerdy to me. Me and her talk numbers and nerd all the time. So I loved it because I was like, she is like the best for that. Um, but that comes hard, in a world where that is male dominated in a big way. Um, and where, her idea of, she was backed up by the big names that she worked for. And then when she pulled out of that, sorry, she suffered a bit of that imposter syndrome because she didn't have the big names behind her anymore. And could she say she was still an expert in that? Well, hell yeah. No matter where you're working at, she still had the skill set, right? It was there. So, um, understanding that and knowing that, even as someone who I looked up to like that, just she had that same type of feel and problem at times. So, um, really resonating with the fact that we're all sharing the same experiences, all different in their own ways, but
Yes.
how they overlapped each other so much in
Hmm.
all of these episodes, and what really was going on just started to ring out when you hear everything all together like that. There were so many of the same things being said, and it was
Right. And
crazy.
the way the guests, and we mentioned this, I think last week too, the way the guests, they self schedule, but the way that they have lined up and built one upon the other or connected somehow,
Mhm.
just has been a really, really cool way of seeing the universe conspire for
Mhm.
us, and lining things up.
Yeah.
That's been another really cool thing about it.
Mhm.
So just to recap too, to go back, so
Mhm.
Jennifer Jane Young, she offered a free workshop in guided meditation. So go get that. Don't miss that. I didn't have anything in the notes about a book, but she also has a podcast. And then Melissa St. Clair, she offered a free decision making guide for small business. So just to reiterate, they're offering some really great freebies and offers, each of the guests do. So I want to
Mhm.
just plug those a little bit for them.
Absolutely.
And then I started with the next episode, which was Rachel. Um, Rachel Jinks.
She
It,
is the biggest love bug ever. She's
oh
like,
my gosh.
stole my
But
heart.
small but mighty, that girl, right?
Mhm.
So for
Yeah.
me, Rachel, she just was one of the most vulnerable guests I think we've had so far.
Mhm.
At least I felt that way. um but there were a couple of bloopers there for sure. But she she dropped some real nuggets in that.
Mhm.
But one of the things that I really loved was the where she talked about was it stop girl, just
Right.
launch your business, right?
Yeah.
Because we make up all these excuses
Mhm.
for not doing whatever it is we're quote unquote doing. And I thought it was just really funny. She said, yeah, she relaunched her website. And she's like, no, I didn't relaunch. I posted one social media post of a picture of an open door and it said open for business. I know. And we just cracked up. We just cracked up because we've all done that. We've all
Yeah.
but I launched my business. I posted it on social media.
Mhm. And
And
that
it was
resonates with me because anyone who really knows me knows how much I hate social media. Like I have fought tooth and nail about social media. I help my clients with it. I'm trying to do that, and I get on social media for them. But if you look at mine, uh, the holidays are random. The posts are random. Like there's no kind of congenial, like nothing that would show you
there's
that.
no cohesive strategy. Yeah.
And it's just because it's like my little anti social media, I guess, protest or whatever. I don't know, but I'm not big on it. And I get it from my clients. Well, she struggled with that too. She didn't like it either too much, and it was
Yeah.
one of those things
Well,
where.
it's scary. And she talked about this. It's scary to put ourselves out there.
Hmm.
Um, and it's still scary. Here we are doing this podcast that the whole world can see it's completely public.
Hmm.
And to be honest, are there people out there that I'd rather not have them stalking me and seeing me this way? Sure. But fuck them. This
Right.
is, and by the way, this is not PG. Okay. This podcast is, we mark it as adult explicit material because
Mhm.
we drop F bombs. And not intentionally, but that's just part of who I am.
Yeah.
Um, Although I've never really heard you do that whole lot of that.
Oh, I have a that's the problem. I have reeled that in because I am a New Yorker with a sailor's mouth and I would go way overboard. I think my first F bomb came in with Jackie's.
Well, not just Rachel.
Mhm.
Rachel is very much not that way, and she still came on our podcast. And
Mhm.
even though I might have said a little, so I think I mentioned the itty bitty shitty committee in my head, she
Uh-huh.
still laughed at it, and
Mhm.
she didn't get all judgy and whatever. Um,
She
and
truly
she's
embraces that brand, like be you, be
yeah,
authentically you. And
yeah,
again, we're not for everybody, like, but she's so unjudgmental no matter what that, and she really lives that. Like it is truly genuine. There, I've never once felt like she was insincere about that from the day I met her.
yeah. And then the other one was when she talked about being Rachel Brave. And that
Hmm.
has stuck with me. Like I even tell myself sometimes, all right, we got to be Rachel Brave.
Hmm.
And if you want to know what that's all about, you got to listen to the episode.
Yeah.
She also has a free ebook, which is
Hmm.
called the Top 5 Branding Blunders and Busters. And you can get that for free on her website. But we dropped a link in the show notes as well for her. But that was Rachel Jinks, the brand boss with the Brand Boss Studio. Absolutely loved her. And then the next episode, we had Jackie Barker with the Barefoot Digital Collective. She had a name change. That's why I had to think for a second. And both of us have worked with Jackie, and I've known Jackie. We initially got together to hold each other accountable for business software that we both decided we were going to take on, called Dubsado, and we use it as our CRM. We both still use it to this day. Is it perfect? No, but it's working. And we
Hmm.
keep learning more and more about it every day.
Yeah.
And helping each other with it.
Mm-hmm. By the
And
time I
Jackie had,
came into VE, Jackie was kind of like a little celebrity, along with like Julie and Mary and all them. Like there's some like not levels or pedestals that but there are people that are more known and within our group, and Jackie felt like that to me in a way, like, oh God, do I talk to her, do I not?
she's just, I mean, Jackie's such a giving person.
Mm-hmm.
And to her detriment sometimes, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest, after working with her for several years now, we each have to hold each other accountable for different things. And one of the things I keep telling her is, you just got to stop giving your shit away.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I know you love your people, but at
Yeah.
the same time, we have to stop devaluing
Mm-hmm.
ourselves and
Yeah.
disqualifying ourselves. And that takes some practice. That
Yeah.
does take some practice. But Jackie started out doing one thing, and she's finally narrowed her niche down, and this year she's doing it even more. But she does web design. So her freebie, we go back and look, is a free website health assessment. And y'all need to do this. I was working with a client earlier this year, and her account, they cloned her site, and I don't know, they hijacked it, and were sending people to this other site where they would put in their information, and then they would hack them.
Oh no.
Yes. And it was because she didn't have, the correct security measures in place. Somebody wasn't maintaining her website on a regular basis and updating plugins and all of that stuff. And Jackie does such a fantastic job. Every single month, I get a report of
Mm-hmm.
how my website's operating, where the improvements are, the
Yep.
upload speeds, downloads, all the things.
Yeah.
Um, and her and her team they're just fantastic. But
Yeah.
lots of good laughs with Jackie. We did not a lot of name dropping in that episode, right? We talked
Yeah.
about Lisa Hammett again. We talked about Debbie Burns and Kathy Guggenauer and Joe Burns and Allie Berthium and Kim Snow and Kim Woods. Oh, did we mention Kim Woods? We did.
Yeah.
And
Oh my gosh,
yeah,
Mary. Who else? Yeah, there was a lot of name dropping, and there's a lot.
name dropping in
Lisa.
that episode. It was so much fun. We got introduced to all the kitties,
Mhm.
and met all the kitty cats. Again, there are four of them. I can't get over that. I can't get over. I don't know. I don't know that I can do it. I mean, I love
Her
me some
cats
cats.
behaved that day, which is hilarious.
They
Because the
really
one
did.
time you were like, no, because this is notorious. And same with me, every time I'm on a meeting with her, it's between the cats and the hubby, and that's kind of what happens. Which one is going to, make an appearance
Act up.
usually? And yeah, her cats were very well behaved. And so were Rachel's, because Rachel's cats are
He
normally
came up next to her, but he didn't make any noise.
not.
Yeah. And then the next episode was Ricky Smith, which unfortunately I couldn't make it.
Wait,
I'm going
you
to out
gotta tell
myself.
people what happened that day. Not the
It was
whole
an
thing,
awful,
but
it was the day from hell. Okay. Everything that could go wrong went wrong. And I ended up just taking the day off. It was like the universe's way of saying, you know what? You don't need to work today
mhm.
at all, because I locked myself out of my office
Okay, I'm not gonna
with
laugh.
my car keys. So I couldn't even drive my car. Yeah. It's funny now, but I was pissed that day.
She was, everybody. When she called and was just like, this is what's going on. And we don't really speak about it. Like, I didn't say anything on the show, just that you were having
No.
a moment, like you had stuff happening.
Yeah.
But when she was explaining to me what was going on, I was
I
like,
was in tears. I was
oh
so
my
frustrated.
God. Yeah.
I was just it, and I knew, like, okay, I don't normally react this way. And I guess I just hadn't realized how stressed or whatever I was, and that
Hmm.
it was universe's way of saying you need a break.
Yeah.
And so I have 3 different computers. None of them were outside of my vehicle or my office. Um, I had my phone, but I didn't have a charger. Um, and yeah, that was it. So I called my sister and I said, "Hey, I need you to help me get out of this house before I rip a door off the hinges or um I tried climbing in the windows, I tried getting in sliding glass doors. I mean, it
Mhm.
was yeah. But anyway, we had everything ready for that episode. It was Ricky Smith, and
Mhm.
which is a Laura when Laura brought her in, and Laura did a fantastic job just hosting by herself. And she shone. And I told her that after I saw that episode, I messaged her. I'm like, I just finished watching that and listened to it. And you need to step up a little bit more when we're together because you're good. You're good.
Thank you.
But Ricky, what? She is on fire.
Yeah.
Like she was dropping one nugget after another. Boom, 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 boom.
Mhm.
And I love her.
Yeah.
And I'm really sorry I missed that because she's awesome.
Yeah.
Um
The
Jackie left a
milkman,
comment.
money, and shoes. That part.
Yes, yes. That is, and actually, of all the nuggets I pulled out, that was one of them for the highlight reel. Um, so be sure to catch the highlight reel for what she said because it was priceless. Jackie said that she told me earlier that day that I should go sit out by the pool, and yeah, so she helped the universe make that decision for me on that day.
Oh,
But
that's
Ricky
funny.
Ricky was awesome. I really enjoyed listening to it, and she offered a 30-minute like free consult, and she does business training for
Yeah.
businesses for employees and things like that. So a little bit different, more of a corporate background, right?
Hmm. She
Yeah.
does, yeah, she does leadership training as well for upper management and things like that, as well as training your staff in certain techniques and writing up trainings and things like that as well. So that's really exciting.
Jackie said in the comments, "That's what friends are for." Yes, it is. Um, she's another business bestie of mine for sure. The next episode was Corinne Hamilton and another Spitfire. And she had her freebie was a course on gratitude that came about when her and some friends just got together and started having a gratitude practice for, I think it started out like for 30 days or something, ended up being for a year, and then they ended up writing a book and developing a course, and um, it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
um, and talking with her was lots of fun.
Yes.
um, I got the idea. Now we in my business is virtual, but she works with she and her wife both work from home, but they have a break room, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they take breaks throughout the day to connect and get away from work for a minute
Yeah.
and just, so in our Slack channel for Lady Powerhouse, we have the water cooler channel, which,
Mhm.
everybody goes to water cooler, get a cup of water, and you run into somebody there and you share, you know, local gossip, or you might go, "Hey, did you get my email about blah, blah, blah," right? So that's our virtual space for that.
Mhm.
Um, but I really liked her idea of having a physical break room. There he is.
Making his appearance.
hmm And for those not watching the video, Laura's puppy just came to visit her. So we gave him a little 30 seconds of fame right there.
Right.
Um, yeah. So Corinne talked about, running a business while married. Does she run her business with her wife or one of them?
Well, so her business is with a business partner, but her wife
Yes.
is also running a
Okay.
business separate. Yeah.
Yeah. And then staying in your lane, and that meant something very different for her
Hmm.
than it you think it does. and the truth about numbers, which again was a very different viewpoint on that, and I really appreciated
Mm-hmm.
that. And then, so last but not least, Jean Walters was last week's guest. I just love Jean. She's been a long-time client. She was actually, I subcontracted for her when I first started. And then the client that I was doing the subcontracting work for decided not to do social media anymore, and basically referred her to me. And that was very generous and gracious. Um, and so I've been working for her since 2019, not for her, but with her for like, yeah, it's been 3 years.
Wow.
Jean, it's been 3 years. I can't believe it. But I'd never met Jean face to face until earlier this year, when I was in St. Louis traveling, and we met face to face. And I was telling her, we just talked more about personal things than business, and just getting to know each other personally. And I had shared with her um, that, something unexpected and adverse had happened in my life. But then there's the silver lining, right? And I interpreted the silver lining one way. And she said, really, I don't think it's about that, Angelique. I think it's about this. And I had never seen it that way. And I'm being obtuse because there is a legal case and I cannot share details publicly.
Yeah.
So, but that day I was like, oh, okay, sure. That's one way to look at it. And I
Mhm.
kind of dismissed it, to be honest, until the next day when my chiropractor told me that I needed to go home because I was injured and needed surgery.
Yeah.
And that was his opinion. He goes, but you need to get, off the road and back home,
Mhm.
because I really think you need medical attention. um, and so I was heartbroken by that because I had had my hopes up to do this road trip and see my clients and meet clients and see
Mhm.
some places that I hadn't seen yet. And I was really disappointed. I'm sitting in my car crying, and her message came back to me, and it was kind of like a pre-confirmation of what I needed to do. And then I had another friend reach out and say, hey, do you want to get on the phone? Do you need to talk? And then she ended up pulling some cards and just really confirming, and giving me peace about it. And so that's why I really respect her and her gifts. She's a transformational coach. And she does Akashic readings. If you don't know what they are, check out the show notes or Google it. What did
Yeah.
I do before Google? But um, Jean offered 3 chapters for one of her books, and she's written several. And doing her social media, I'm gradually reading all of her books in order
Mhm.
to, create content for her marketing. And they're good. They're
Yeah.
good, y'all. The books are good. So email Jean and get your free chapters, because
Yeah.
um that is a really actually value. It doesn't sound like a lot of value. Oh, I'm only going to get 3 chapters, but you'd be amazed what is
Mhm.
in those 3 chapters and how valuable that is. Yes, the point is it'll probably make you want to buy the book, but if you can't, that's okay. You're still going to get value out of those 3 chapters.
Mhm.
And because the book is about the journey from anxiety to peace, and she gives you practical steps to handle fear and, embrace struggle and eliminate worry, and to become happy and free. I mean, who doesn't want that?
Right.
and and that's kind of, and that again, that fit in so well with
Mhm.
our message and what we're trying to do.
Exactly.
And again, what Rachel was saying about,
Yeah.
yeah, you're afraid, you're scared to put yourself out there, but guess what, you need to do that anyway.
Yeah.
So a
Oh
really
man.
good, and then we also talked about Lisa's book again, because it came
Mhm.
up. And I think Lisa's book has actually come up quite a bit because it's on burnout, and there
Mhm.
aren't many entrepreneurs out there that haven't experienced that at some level. And
Yeah.
I found one thing I learned from one of our um, episodes that you and I did, which we didn't really touch on those, but
Mm-hmm.
it was after we met with Jess Jorgensen and we talked about female entrepreneurs going nomad, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I looked up in preparation for that episode, I looked up a bunch of statistics. And one of the statistics that was there was that, we get into corporate, and the average age is like 29 or something like that. I guess for hitting your pinnacle of success or something. I don't know. But the period from that time to
Mm-hmm.
burnout was 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
The average person burns out at age 31.
Mm-hmm.
The average age for people who go nomad is 31, somewhere in the 30s range, right?
Makes
The
sense.
majority of them. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, that makes so much sense because you get burnt out and it's like this great resignation, right? We're at this
Mm-hmm.
point where we're like, you know what? Why are we killing ourselves for the man
Right.
when the reality is that if we died tomorrow, they would replace us in a week?
When I did a career change at 30, because I went from the teenagers working with at risk youth and in the facilities and case management and juvenile court and that kind of thing. And at 30, I made the change to corporate. Now, in hindsight, like I thought, this might be a good change. Um, I was really in burnout with the teenagers and thought, okay, career change, this might be good. I've learned, but there's that level of, but it makes a whole lot of sense because for me it was a career change. I didn't slow down much in my stress levels, but I made a change that made it feel like I had made that switch up out of something that was going to absolutely put me down completely into something that may not be quite so bad. Um and that's very interesting because I was 30.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so a couple of things, and we'll mention these again next week, next week's episode, but some of the things, and these are relevant because um, I have a couple of things that we're doing in Lady Powerhouse Sisterhood. Um, we do a monthly book club, and we're reading E Myth Revisited right now, and it makes so much sense. I was chatting with a couple of people that let's see, it was my bookkeeper. I was talking with her. She's in the book club, Karen Bowen, and just talking about just how much sense it all makes. That book makes so much sense. So if you'd like to join us and talk about that book, even if you haven't read it, I have joined book clubs and just gone to the discussions.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I didn't get around to reading the book, I still enjoyed the discussion. So if you want to join us, absolutely, there'll be a link in the show notes for that. We're reading E-Myth Revisited, and we'll be discussing that next month in January. I think is the 11th.
Yeah.
And then January 5th. What was going on January 5th? There's something going on. Oh, we're doing the
So
vision board.
yeah.
We do a quarterly vision board workshop. And we started doing this just for the people in our team so that we could all, support each other and creating our visions. And but it's open to the entire Lady Powerhouse Sisterhood. And it's free to join the sisterhood. It's just a Facebook group, y'all. It ain't a cult, okay? And we're just there supporting each other and doing things together. And so that's going on. And there was something else, but I don't remember what it was now. I
Oh,
think that was it. I think that was it.
no, there were
But
three things, but yeah, it's all mentioned next week.
yeah. And then we'll start the new year with Lorraine Penner. She's our first guest on January 3rd.
Mhm.
And then we've got, oh man, if you guys have never heard of Fempire Media, Shelby Fowler, holy cow, she's coming up in January. And then Allie Berthume with the right place, right time. I was a
Right.
thing. She's a fantastic
Mhm.
ghostwriter and writing coach.
Yeah.
And she
Allie
has a
did
fantastic,
my first podcast or my first speaking engagement.
awesome.
So it was she had because she was doing her hour long special where she brought guests in, and I was one of the ones we were speaking on, the Jewish community and anti-Semitism and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
she was the first speaking engagement I ever did.
that's
With
fantastic.
Allie. Yeah.
Awesome. And then the last guest in January 31st is Stacy Urick. Stacy, I met Stacy through a book club, y'all, through a book club, but she is magic. I did a call with her and she helped me so much in that one call. Um, and it's just her, just who she is, what she does, how she does it. It's like we were talking about Michelle
Mhm.
Long. It- she just her gift is getting you into that meditation, that guided meditation, and getting you there better, faster than anyone that I've ever done it with.
Mhm.
Um, and and meditating, I think it's fantastic. I love it when I can get there, but getting there is always a challenge.
Mhm.
It is getting easier. And so Stacy's just one of those people that knows what questions to ask and what to say and how to say it, to really help you. And to be kind and tenderhearted and supportive in the process. So don't miss I mean, January's lineup is just off the roof. And I think I forgot somebody. Drusella. I don't even know how to. I don't want to ruin her last name. But talk about a powerhouse. I don't even know where to get started with her.
Mhm.
How did we connect with her?
So I did a podcast a couple months ago with a woman named Mary Goodman, and she'll probably be on later this year. But Gisela, Mary is a book publisher, and she does collaborative books together. And Josella has a chapter in one of those books.
And
And
her
then she's a business
story.
owner. Well, Mary referred her to me for VA services, but we got to talking, and what? She's
Yeah.
wow.
Her story is amazing.
Mhm.
Amazing. I was looking at, I don't know, either her website or her social media or something, and just,
Mhm.
um, putting together the little blurb that we do in the weekly newsletter. And which is another thing. If y'all want to see a sneak peek of the guests that are coming up, we send out a weekly newsletter if you want to sign up for that. Every Thursday, I think last Thursday at least, you can sign up for the newsletter through Facebook, Instagram, all those places.
Mhm.
Or just shoot us an email and say, hey, put me on your email list.
Mhm.
And it's Fempreneur True Confessions at Gmail. What are some of the other things? Hopefully next year we're going to get a website. Jackie's going to help us with that.
Yes.
Um, yeah,
We've been brainstorming everyone on how we can make this better and help it grow and be what you
yes,
guys want it to be. Where
yeah,
any suggestions you have, anything you'd be like, hey, I had a thought, because that's where it comes from. Like, I sat down over the weekend. Hanukkah started for us on Sunday night, and I sat down and just got a little bit heart centered and meditated, and I had things that were just coming up. Like, this is, our planning for the new year is coming in for our own businesses as well as for Fempreneur. And just what are we going to do? And there's so much. So if you have suggestions, we want to rock. We want to make this your community, and make it better for you and the things that you guys want as well. So
Yeah.
It isn't about us, it's about you all. So
Yeah. So let us know if you do have any suggestions, or
mhm,
if you think that, hey, I think this person would be a good guest, send
mhm.
us a link and we'd be happy to reach out to them and invite them. Um, it's just been crazy humbling that we are booked out through May and
Yeah,
into June. I mean, that's just, it blew me away how quickly um, people aligned with our mission and have been willing to sign up and come on and visit with us, and that's how we feel about it. Really, we're just here to talk shit.
right.
I mean, we're not talking shit about other people in a negative way. We're just talking about
Right.
business stuff.
Yeah. Primarily.
All right, so we
Definitely.
will catch you guys next week, and in the new year, if we don't see you between now and then, have a wonderful Christmas, the happiest of New Year's, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye, everyone.